Welding is not just for professionals working in the manufacturing industry. It is also a great hobby for anyone who wants to repair or build things for fun and recreation. Welding projects can help welders of any skill level increase their knowledge and understanding of techniques, fundamentals, and skills. Whether you are just getting started or have been welding for quite some time, there are several welding projects that you can do. As a beginner welder, you're no doubt anxious to take the skills you've gained and start putting them to use on a cool project. But finding welding projects for beginners, ones that are interesting and challenging but not too advanced, can be a little tricky. You don't want something that's straight up boring and impractical. And you don't want something that is also so advanced that you'll give up before you're done. You have to find projects that hit the sweet spot. We totally understand. So to help you out, we have put together this video which contains some of the best welding projects for beginners. What are you waiting for? Grab your tools and grab your safety gear and get to work. Hello reviewers, welcome back to our channel. Today we have brought to you simple welding projects you can do as a beginner welder. This video contains a collection of beautiful and practical metal welding project ideas you can tackle at home. You can even turn these plans or designs into a lucrative small-scale manufacturing business with a small initial investment on basic tools and materials. So we advise you to watch the video until the end to never miss a thing and choose an inspiring project for your next welding adventure. If you are new to the channel and if you like what you see, please consider subscribing to our channel and smash the notification bell so that you'll be the first one to be notified when we upload new videos. If you're already a subscribed member, please like and share this video so that it could reach a wide range of audience. Welding is more than the industrial applications we associate with it. Welding is a lot of fun, and what's more, it could also improve your daily life. Welding also provides you with a means of increasing your income, especially if you sell your projects. Welding is a fabrication process that joins materials, usually metals, by using high heat to melt the parts together and allowing them to cool, causing fusion. Welding is distinct from lower temperature metal joining techniques such as brazing and soldering, which don't melt the base metal. In addition to melting the base metal, a filler material is typically added to the joints to form a pool of molten material, or the weld pool, that cools to form a joint that, based on weld, can be stronger than the base material or the parent material. Pressure may also be used in conjunction with heat or by itself to produce a weld. Welding also requires a form of shield to protect the filler material, the filler metals or melted metals, from being contaminated or oxidized. Many different energy sources can be used for welding, including a gas flame, which is chemical, an electric arc, which is electrical, a laser, an electron beam, friction, and ultrasound. While often an industrial process, welding may be performed in many different environments, including in open air, underwater, and in outer space. Welding is a hazardous undertaking, and precautions are required to avoid burns, electric shock, vision damage, inhalation of poisonous gases and fumes, and exposure to intense ultraviolet radiation. Until the end of the 19th century, the only welding process was forge welding, which blacksmiths had used for millennia to join iron and steel by heating and hammering. Arc welding and oxy-fuel welding were among the first processes to develop late in the century, and electric resistance welding followed soon after. Welding technology advanced quickly during the early 20th century as world wars drove the demand for reliable and inexpensive joining methods. Following the wars, several modern welding techniques were developed, including manual methods like shielded metal arc welding, now one of the most popular welding methods, as well as semi-automatic and automatic processes such as gas metal arc welding, submerged arc welding, flex cord arc welding, and electroslag welding. Developments continued with the invention of laser beam welding, electron beam welding, magnetic pulse welding, and friction stir welding in the later half of the century. Today, as the science continues to advance, robot welding is commonplace in industrial settings, and researchers continue to develop new welding methods and gain greater understanding of weld quality. The history of joining metals goes back several millennia. The earliest examples of this come from the Bronze and Iron Ages in Europe and the Middle East. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus stated in the stories of the 5th century BC that Glaucus of Chios was the man who single-handedly invented iron welding. Welding was used in the construction of Iron Pillar of Delhi, erected in Delhi, India, about 310 AD and weighing 5.4 metric tons. The Middle Ages brought advances in forge welding, in which blacksmiths pounded heated metal repeatedly until bonding occurred. In 1540, Vanozio Birnigusio published De la Pyrotechnia, which includes descriptions of the forging operation. Renaissance craftsmen were skilled in the process, and the industry continued to grow during the following centuries. In 1800, Sir Humphrey Davy discovered the short pulse electrical arc and presented his results in 1801. In 1802, Russian scientist Vasil Petrov created the continuous electric arc and subsequently published News of Galvanic Voltaic Experiments in 1803, in which he discovered experiments carried out in 1802. Of great importance in this work was the description of a stable arc discharge and the indication of its possible use for many applications, one being melting metals. In 1808, Davy, who was unaware of Petrov's work, rediscovered the continuous electric arc. In 1881 to 82, inventors Nikolai Benardos of Russia and Stanislaw Oslewski of Polish created the first electric arc welding method known as carbon arc welding using carbon electrodes. The advances in arc welding continued with the invention of metal electrodes in the late 1800s by a Russian Nikolai Slavyanov in 1888 and an American C.L. Coffin in 1890. Around 1900, A.P. Stromenegger released a coated metal electrode in Britain, which gave a more stable arc. In 1905, Russian scientist Vladimir Mitakevich proposed using a three-phase electric arc for welding. Alternating current welding was invented by C.J. Hoslag in 1990, but did not become popular for another decade. Resistance welding was also developed during the final decades of the 19th century, with the first patents going to Elihu Thomson in 1885, who produced further advances over the next 15 years. Thermite welding was invented in 1893, and around that time another process, oxy-fuel welding, became well established. Acetylene was discovered in 1836 by Edmund Davy, but its use was not practical in welding until about 1900 when a suitable torch was developed. At first, oxy-fuel welding was one of the more popular welding methods due to its portability and relatively low cost. As the 20th century progressed, however, it fell out of favor for industrial applications. It was largely replaced with arc welding, as advances in metal coverings known as flux were made. Flux covering the electrode primarily shields the base material from impurities, but also stabilizes the arc and can add alloying components to the welded metal. World War I caused a major surge in the use of welding, with the various military powers attempting to determine which of the several new welding processes would be best. The British primarily used arc welding, even constructing a ship, the Fulaga, with an entirely welded hull. Arc welding was first applied to aircraft during the war as well, as some German airplane fuselages were constructed using the process. Also noteworthy is the first welded road bridge in the world, the Marzice Bridge in Poland in 1928. During the 1920s, significant advances were made in welding technology, including the introduction of automatic welding in 1920, in which electrode wire was fed continuously. Shielding gas became a subject receiving much attention as scientists attempted to protect welds from the effects of oxygen and nitrogen in the atmosphere. Porosity and brittleness were the primary problems, and the solutions that developed included the use of hydrogen, argon, and helium as welding atmospheres. During the following decade, further advances allowed for the welding of reactive metals like aluminum and magnesium. This, in conjunction with developments in automatic welding, alternating current and fluxes, fed a major expansion of arc welding during the 1930s and then during the World War II. In 1930, the first all-welded merchant vessel, MS Carolinian, was launched. During the middle of the century, many new welding methods were invented. In 1930, Kyle Taylor was responsible for the release of stud welding, which soon became popular in shipbuilding and construction. Submerged arc welding was invented the same year and continues to be popular today. In 1932, a Russian Konstantin Kirinov eventually implemented the first underwater electric arc welding. Gas tungsten arc welding, after decades of development, was finally perfected in 1941, and gas metal arc welding followed, allowing for fast welding of non-ferrous materials but requiring expensive shielding gases. Shielded metal arc welding was developed during the 1950s using a flex-coated consumable electrode, and it quickly became the most popular metal arc welding process. In 1957, the flux-cored arc welding process debuted, in which the self-shielded wire electrode could be used with automatic equipment, resulting in greatly increased welding speeds, and that same year plasma arc welding was invented by Robert Gage. Electroslag welding was introduced in 1958, and it was followed by its cousin electrogas welding in 1961. In 1953, the Soviet scientist N.F. Kazakov proposed the diffusion bonding method. Other recent developments in welding include the 1958 breakthrough of electron beam welding, making deep and narrow welding possible through the concentrated heat source. Following the invention of the laser in 1960, Leather beam welding debuted several decades later and has proved to be especially useful in high-speed automated welding. Magnetic pulse welding has been industrially used since 1967. Friction stir welding was invented in 1991 by Wayne Thomas at the Welding Institute, United Kingdom, and found high-quality applications all over the world. All of these 4 new processes continue to be quite expensive due to the high cost of the necessary equipment, and this has limited their applications. Well, viewers, as you can see in the video, we have compiled a number of interesting welding project ideas for your inspiration. Which one is your favorite and why? Let us know in the comment section. By now you know that our channel is full of inspiring videos which you can use in your projects from time to time. If you like our content, please consider subscribing to our channel if you haven't already, and also smash the notification bell so that you'll be the first one to be notified when we upload new videos. Thank you for watching until the end. We look forward to seeing you in our next video. Until then, stay safe and stay blessed.